Good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion and your old pal Jah. So you saw the title of this video, and one of the biggest questions people have been asking recently is, what happened to Jah? So let's talk about what happened to Jah. So on the road trip, as far as the videos that you've been watching, Jah didn't come along on this road trip because, well, we were going out to Las Vegas and Los Angeles, and the weather was over 100. And his little paws can't take that. He's got black hair, and so he really feels the heat. So actually, when we were out in Las Vegas, it was 112 to 115 the entire week that Scott and I were there. So so that basically is where Jah was. He was with some really good friends who look at him as almost like their own son, and they love him. And when I take him on long trips and stuff, they really miss him. So he's going to be gone for a while on this trip with me, and they're going to miss him a lot. So yeah, Jah's always in good hands when he's gone. However, there actually was something that did happen to Jah. We had Jah's very first health scare. I've had him since he was just a couple of weeks old. He's now 8 years old, and in our time together, Jah's never had an emergency room visit. He's never really been sick or anything. You know, one time he got fleas from a dog at the park, and it took one pill and he was fine the next day. So he's been perfect. And I took him to the dog park, and he was playing around for a little while. I was sitting on a bench, and all of a sudden he came walking out from underneath the bench, and I noticed when he was trying to sit down on the sidewalk that he was favoring his back right leg. Like, he kept holding it up, and when he would try and sit down, he couldn't sit down comfortably. And most of you have been to dog parks, so you know that even though they have signs that say no digging, people's dog, you know, their dogs do dig. And so I know that there are some holes out there, and I thought, well, maybe he stepped in a hole, or maybe while he was running with one of the other dogs, he ended up, maybe they ran past him, knocked him over, something happened to his leg. So I watched him for a little bit, and he just kept favoring it. So I was concerned that it was broke. I picked him up and put him on my lap, and again, he kept moving around, trying to stand up and like kind of move around with holding that back leg up. So I was really concerned. So we got in the car, we left the dog park pretty quickly, and called our vet, which I'll get into. You know, this is another thing I had a problem with. We called his vet and said, you know, we have kind of an emergency, can you see him? And they said, no, we can see him tomorrow if you want to drop him off tomorrow. And I'm thinking, well, the last time I called and was, you know, trying to get him in there because he was itching and it was the fleas, you know, they couldn't make time for him. And I'm thinking, you're supposed to be his doctor. How can your schedule be so packed that you can't find a little bit? Now, granted, I'm not a veterinarian. I don't know how all that works, but I just feel like if you're going to be someone's veterinarian, their primary pet doctor, and most people that own pets nowadays look at them like their children, you should find time. And I just thought, you know, this was the second time they did that. So I called a place that someone at the dog park had recommended to me and said they took their dogs there. I called them, and they said, yeah, actually we can see him. So we went there, and they took him in, started asking questions. They said, did another dog jump on him? Did anything? I said, I didn't see anything happen. I don't know. But even in there, he, you know, it was a lengthy process. By the time we walked in, sat in the waiting room for probably a half hour. Then we were taken to an examination room, waited a little bit. They kind of came out and did a preliminary examination. Not even the doctor, someone else. And then about 15 minutes later, the doctor came in, looked him over, and was kind of feeling him around. She thought maybe because of his age, maybe it was something with his joints or something. But I knew it had to be something that happened at the park, because he wasn't doing that before. So she says, well, let me get you some estimates for an x-ray. Now I figured, you know, unless it's a break, that's the only thing it's really probably going to tell us is something important like that. Otherwise, you know, anything else, there's not really much we can do for it. That was my assumption, you know. But I told her right then and there, I said, I don't, you know, I hate to say this, but I don't care what it costs, just do it. And she said, well, you know, it's like shopping. I like to give people their options so they know in case they want to go somewhere else. I said, this is an emergency, so I want them to do it. So she comes in, she says they have to give them like an anesthetic kind of to do the x-ray. So she says that in total with that and the x-ray that it was going to be $267. So I said, okay. So the girl comes in and picks up Jah, meets Jah, sees his face, and just falls in love right away. Just starts oohing and ahhing over him. And the poor little guy, he won't sit down because his back leg is just bothering him so much. So they take him away, and then the girl comes back in and says, so when he comes out from having his x-ray, he's going to be a little out of it. He's going to be kind of groggy from the sedative that they give him. So it's probably another half hour. I think we were there in total, the whole time was like an hour and a half, but he ends up coming out, and they bring him out into the waiting room where I'm at and put him on the examination table, and he's looking at me and he's just stoned out of his mind. It was unbelievable. Like he's walking all slow, and I said his name and he's wiggling his tail. I pick him up, and since I knew his back leg was hurting him, I kind of like flipped him over and was holding him like a baby with his legs up in the air and his arms up in the air, and he's going like this. Just eyes just completely glazed over, tongue hanging out, just going, and I go, Jah, you okay? Jah, you okay? He's not responding, his tail's not doing anything. I'm just rubbing his stomach and rubbing his chest and everything, and I go, Jah, you're stoned out of your mind. Poor guy. So the doctor comes in and she says, okay, so the good news is I don't see any break or anything. She said, you know what I think happened? Because there is swelling, his leg was swelling. She said, I think he got stung. I think he got stung by something. And I hadn't even thought of that. But she said, I think she prescribed a pain medication for him. And she said when his little, whatever it is, like that little anesthesia they give him for the x-ray, when that wears off, he's probably going to be hungry, but hopefully that should help. You know, she gave him something else to take down the swelling and everything. And she said, hopefully he'll be okay after that, but if he's still in pain, then give him these, she gave me pills, and it was, give him half of one of those every 12 hours. So, but then she said, just out of curiosity, what are you feeding him? And I said, well, I know he's overweight, obviously, but I said, he's so picky, he won't eat anything. She just started shaking her head. She said, he's an only child and he knows what he's doing. She said, she said, what are you giving him? I said, Caesar dog food. And she said, no, absolutely not. Do not get, I said, that's the only thing he'll eat. She said, do not give it to him. She said, that is basically like meth or crack for a dog. She said, yeah, do not give him that. She said, don't even give him people food because there's sodium in it. I said, I can't find anything that he will eat. And she said, I have a Chihuahua also. And she said, I give my dog Royal Canin for Chihuahua. She said, give him a quarter cup twice a day. And she said, do you know what Stella and Chewy's patties are? And I said, oh yeah, he likes those. She said, okay, get the little pebbles and just dust 2 or 3 of them over his food, and he can have that twice a day. And I was like, oh man, he's never gonna go. I said, he will hold out on me for 3 days and not eat anything. She said, he can go 5. He can go 5 days without eating if that's what he wants to do. I said, wow. I mean, she wasn't being mean about it. She was just saying his body can handle that. So she said, just wait him out. So we took him home, and he basically napped for about 2 hours. And then when he started getting all spry again, the limp and everything was gone. He was back to the old Jah that we know. And I went and bought the dog food that she recommended, and I thought, there's just no way he's gonna eat it. So I put it in his bowl, he sniffed it, walked away, wanted nothing to do with it, and then it dawned on me, he likes to be hand-fed. So I went and got the bowl, put it in my lap, he hopped up there with me, and I started giving it to him a little bit by hand, gave him a little bit of that dusty Stella and Chewy stuff to get him started. He liked that, and then he ate the rest of the bowl. And that was about 5 days ago, and he has been eating that Royal Canin dog food with the Stella Chewy stuff sprinkled on it every day the way he's supposed to since. And he has not been having all the normal TREATS that he has, and he's kind of adapting to it. So his health seems better. He's got more energy already, and he's lost a little bit of weight. His coat's softer than it was, and he seems to enjoy the food. So if you were wondering what happened to Jah, his first health scare was he got a bee sting that basically was like the end of the world for him. And in the end, our bill was $307 to find that out. But I think that was $307 actually very well spent, because I was at a loss. I mean, if I showed you my cabinets have probably 7 different kinds of dog foods in there. Probably 4 or 5 dry kinds that I've tried that he would have nothing to do with, and 2 or 3 wet kinds that he would have nothing to do with. And yeah, it's as a traveler, it's such a relief to have him on dry food. It's a lot easier to take care of him. It's a lot easier to feed him. He's on a better schedule now. So in the end, I think that $300 doctor visit may have changed Jah's life for the better. So that's what's up with Jah. Hope you guys enjoyed the update. I hope I didn't scare you. But yeah, that's the deal. So he's back to good as new, right, Jah? So thank you all for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. Have a great night, and goodbye.